The red warning lights flashed across the control room of Deep Space Station Epsilon 7. Officer Vextar moved his 6 arms quickly over the buttons and screens. His hands shook as he read the numbers that made no sense. "Admiral," Vextar spoke. Into his communication device, his voice cracking with fear. "We have something big coming out of hyperspace. The readings they're impossible, sir." Admiral Kethmara appeared as a blue light projection above the main control desk. Her scaled face showed worry. She had kept her people safe for many years by being careful. "What do you mean impossible, officer?" "The ship is 15 kilometers long, sir. That's bigger than our largest battle stations. The energy it puts out is more than our sensors can measure. And the design—" Vextar stopped talking. His bug-like mouth parts clicked together nervously. "It doesn't match any ship we know about in our whole database." Far away in space, Captain Kim Ji-woo stood on the bridge of the huge ship called the UES Retribution. She was from Korea on Earth. She had been sleeping in a special freezing chamber for 3 years while traveling to this part of space. This was humanity's first big exploration ship sent beyond their home solar system. "Navigation. Tell me what you see," Captain Kim said calmly, even though her heart was beating fast. Lieutenant Park Min-ho looked at his instruments with wide eyes. "Captain, we're picking up lots of artificial energy signals all through this area of space. We're not alone out here." The captain kept her face calm, but her mind was racing. When humans launched into space, they thought they would find empty planets and stars. Instead, they had found what looked like a galaxy full of other living beings. "Weapons officer, how are we doing?" she asked. Commander Lee Sumin looked up from her control panel. "All systems working perfectly, Captain. Shields at full power, weapons ready but not turned on, but—" She paused. "I'm seeing multiple contacts coming toward us." Through the huge window of the ship, tiny dots of light grew bigger as 6 alien scout ships moved closer. Fleet Commander Nexaval led the small group of ships. His crew was trained to meet new species, but they were not ready for what they were about to see. The human battleship was much bigger than their largest warships. Its sharp, angular hull was covered with weapon systems that seemed to follow their movement. Strange symbols, later learned to be Korean and English writing, were painted on its dark surface. "By the void," whispered Nexval's tactical officer, his voice full of amazement and fear. "What kind of people build something like that?" Back on the monitoring station, more alien officers gathered around the main screen. The ship they were watching was unlike anything they had ever seen. Their species had been exploring space for thousands of years, meeting hundreds of different alien races. But this ship was completely new. "Sir," another officer said, "the energy. Patterns suggest their technology is far ahead of ours, much more advanced than anything we have." Admiral Kethmara studied the readings. Her people had survived by being smart and careful. This unknown ship worried her more than any threat they had faced in decades. "Send a message to the Galactic Council immediately," she ordered. "Tell them we have a first contact situation, but this might be more dangerous than anything we've dealt with before." On the human ship, Captain Kim walked to the big window and looked out at the approaching alien vessels. They were clearly military ships, but their design was completely different from human technology. Their hulls were smooth and curved, with flowing lines that looked almost artistic compared to the brutal efficiency of human warship design. "Captain," reported Communications Officer Choi Yeji, "I'm trying to scan their communication systems, but they're completely different from ours. It might take time to figure out how to talk to them." "Keep trying," Captain Kim replied. "This is the moment we've been preparing for." The alien scout ships moved into a careful formation around the massive human battleship. Both sides were trying to understand each other, but neither knew how to communicate across the vast differences in their technology and languages. Commander Nexaval watched the human ship through his main screen. Its weapon systems were clearly visible, and several seemed to be following his ships as they moved. "Are they targeting us?" he asked his weapons officer. "I cannot tell, sir. Their scanning beams are much stronger than anything we know about. It's like they can see right through our ships." The tension in space grew as both sides tried to figure out what the other wanted. The humans had come looking for a missing colony ship. The aliens thought they were facing an invasion from beyond their galaxy. Neither side knew that this moment would change everything. The galaxy was about to learn that humans existed, and humans were about to discover they were not alone among the stars. The stage was set for a meeting that would reshape both civilizations forever. Captain Kim Ji-woo pressed the communication button on her command chair. She had practiced this moment many times during the long journey from Earth. Her voice was calm and clear as she spoke into the microphone. Unknown ships, this is Captain Kim Ji-woo of the United Earth Ship Retribution. We come in peace and want to talk with your people. Please answer us. The alien ships kept moving closer, but no answer came back. Communications Officer Choi Yeji worked hard at her control station, trying different frequencies and signal types. Captain, I can hear them trying to talk to us, but our systems don't work the same way. I'm trying to make a connection, but it will take time. On the lead alien scout ship, Commander Nexaval faced the same problem. His communications expert was a spider-like creature called Clicktar. Clicktar moved his many arms in frustration as he worked. Commander, their way of sending messages is completely strange to us. Even their mathematics seems to work differently from ours. Commander Nexaval stared at the huge human ship on his main screen. He could see weapon systems all over its surface, and several appeared to be pointing at his small fleet of ships. Are they getting ready to shoot at us? He asked nervously. I don't know, sir. Their scanning beams are very powerful, much stronger than anything we have in our records. Back on the Retribution, the crew worked to understand the alien ships that were getting closer. The ships were clearly built for war, but the humans could not tell what they wanted. Captain, Tactical Officer Lee Sumin said, looking at her instruments, I'm seeing energy building up on several of the approaching ships. They might be charging their weapons. Captain Kim felt the heavy responsibility of this first meeting between humans and aliens. Every choice she made now would affect how her people and these aliens would get along in the future. Keep sending peaceful messages, but turn on our defensive systems. Do not charge weapons unless they shoot at us first. The tension grew as both sides tried to talk, but could not understand each other. Minutes passed like hours as the two different technologies struggled to find common ground. Then disaster struck the alien formation. Scout pilot Zekmoth was young and had never been in a real dangerous situation before. He was scared and confused. When he saw the human ship's sensor beams getting stronger, he thought they were getting ready to attack. His finger found the trigger of his plasma cannon before his brain could think clearly. A bright beam of energy shot out from his small ship and hit the front shields of the huge human battleship. The human ship's protective barriers glowed briefly as they absorbed the attack without any damage. The shot was too weak to hurt the massive vessel, but the Retribution's automatic defense systems did not hesitate. The response was instant and terrible. Multiple high-energy pulse beams fired from the human ship and focused on the attacking scout ship. The alien vessel turned into expanding hot gas in less than 2 seconds. We lost Scout 7, Clicktar reported, his voice empty with shock. Captain Kim stared at the glowing cloud of debris where an alien ship had been just moments before. Her face went pale. Turn off automatic defenses. Send surrender terms immediately. She shouted to her crew, but it was too late. The surviving alien scout ships scattered in panic. Their frightened radio messages flooded subspace with warnings about an incredibly powerful alien warship that had just shown the galaxy's worst fears were real. Communications Officer Choi Yeji tried desperately to send peaceful messages. Captain, I'm broadcasting that it was an accident, that we don't want to fight, but I don't think they're listening. Commander Nexval's hands shook as he gave orders to his remaining ships. All vessels, jump to hyperspace immediately. Emergency retreat. Pattern 7. His final message before disappearing into faster-than-light travel would be remembered in the Galactic Council meeting rooms for many days. This is not a peaceful first contact. This is an invasion. The other scout ships vanished one by one, leaving the Retribution alone in empty space. Captain Kim stood in the middle of her bridge, surrounded by the quiet sounds of her ship's systems. The first meeting between humans and the galaxy had gone terribly wrong. Captain, Science Officer, Han Minji said quietly, I'm analyzing the debris from the destroyed ship. Their technology appears to be several hundred years behind ours in most areas. The weight of what had just happened settled on everyone's shoulders. They had come in peace, but their first act in this populated galaxy was destroying an alien ship. Even though it was self-defense, even though the alien had fired first, the humans knew that explanations would be very hard to make. "Set course for the inner system," Captain Kim ordered. "We need to complete our mission and find the new soul. But now we also need to prepare for the possibility that this entire galaxy might consider us enemies." The Retribution moved deeper into alien space, carrying with it the seeds of either war or understanding. The choice would depend on whether anyone would listen to their explanation of what had really happened in those few terrible seconds. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council started within hours of the first reports. Representatives from over 200 different species filled the huge meeting hall on Capital Prime. Their various forms created a mixture of worried sounds, chittering, growling, and harmonic vibrations that filled the air. Chancellor Vox Andra was a tall being made of crystal, whose people had helped solve galactic problems for thousands of years. She called for quiet in the hall. "The reports from Fleet Commander Nexval are very disturbing. A single ship of unknown origin destroyed one of our military scout ships very easily." Admiral Yulvana of the Hegemony Defense Force stepped forward. She had 4 arms and gestured with all of them as she spoke. "Honored representatives, the energy readings suggest this ship has the firepower of an entire battle fleet. If this is the beginning of an invasion, we must act immediately." Worried sounds rippled through the assembly. The galaxy had known peace for over a century, kept stable through the careful balance of the Hegemony Treaty. Meanwhile, the UES Retribution continued its original mission, now with the added problem of operating in space that was already occupied by other civilizations. Captain Kim Ji-woo studied the star maps her crew had put together from intercepted alien transmissions. "Navigation Officer Park, any luck finding where the new soul went?" Lieutenant Park Min-ho shook his head sadly. "The colony ships last known. Position was in this area, but with all these inhabited systems, they could have made contact with any number of alien civilizations. The missing colony ship New Soul had left Earth's solar system 15 years earlier. It carried 50,000 Korean and international colonists to establish humanity's first settlement among the stars. Contact had been lost 3 years into their journey." "Captain," Intelligence Officer Han Minji interrupted, "I've been studying the alien communication systems. Their technology suggests a huge interstellar civilization, possibly covering thousands of worlds." Captain Kim thought about this information. Humanity had expected to be the first intelligent species to achieve travel between stars. Instead, they had stumbled into what appeared to be a galactic community that had existed for thousands of years. "Any idea about how their government works?" she asked. "From what I can figure out, there appears to be some kind of central authority, possibly a federation or council system. The military formations suggest unified command structures." 3 sectors away, Admiral Yulvana put together the largest fleet mobilization in recent galactic history. 300 ships from 17 different species came together at staging. Area Nexus 7. Their combined firepower could destroy entire star systems. "Admiral," reported her aide, a snake-like creature named Hisavel, "long-range sensors have found the alien vessel. It appears to be conducting systematic searches of the Outer Rim territories." "Searching for what?" Admiral Yulvana wondered out loud. "Unknown, but their pattern suggests they're looking for something specific, perhaps an advance invasion force, or mapping for the best invasion routes." The Admiral's military mind processed what this could mean. "If they're mapping our territories, we need to stop them before they can report back to their main fleet. Order all available ships to intercept. We end this threat now." Back on the Retribution, Sensor Operator Oh Kyung-soo looked up from his station with excitement. "Captain, I'm detecting a large group of metallic objects in the Kepler 442 system. The signature matches Earth-built hull materials." Captain Kim felt a surge of hope. "The new soul?" "Possibly, ma'am. But there's something else. The system contains what appears to be a massive space station with hundreds of ships in orbit." The captain made her decision quickly. "Set course for Kepler 442. It's time we found our people." What the Retribution's crew did not know was that Admiral Yulvana's fleet was already moving to meet them at the same coordinates. The stage was set for a fight that would change the galaxy's understanding of warfare itself. As the human battleship traveled through hyperspace toward the Kepler system, its crew prepared for what they hoped would be a reunion with their lost colonists. Captain Kim walked through the ship's corridors, checking on her people. "How long until we reach the system?" she asked Navigation Officer Park as she entered the bridge. "6 hours at current speed, Captain. And our defensive status?" Tactical Officer Lee Sumin answered from her station. "All systems ready. We've analyzed the alien ship designs from our earlier encounter. Their weapons appear to be plasma-based, similar to our early prototypes, but less advanced." Captain Kim nodded. She hoped they would not need to fight again, but the destruction of the alien scout ship had shown her that peaceful intentions were not always enough. Unknown to the humans, the aliens saw their systematic search pattern as evidence of invasion planning. Every scan the Retribution made of star systems was interpreted as reconnaissance for a larger fleet that must be following behind. The misunderstanding was about to explode into open conflict at Kepler Station, where millions of innocent beings from hundreds of worlds lived and worked together in peace. Neither side wanted war, but both sides were preparing for exactly that. The hunt had begun, and soon hunter and hunted would meet in a battle that would echo through galactic history. Kepler Station hung in space like a giant metal flower with 12 arms reaching out from its center. The station housed over 2 million beings from across the galaxy. Trade ships from hundreds of civilizations docked at its ports, making it the most important business center in the Outer Rim territories. When the UES Retribution arrived, it sent shockwaves through the station's diverse population. Docking Control Officer Plexner, who had many eyes and worked for the station, watched in amazement as the massive human battleship approached. "Station control to unknown vessel," he sent out over the radio. "Please tell us who you are and what you want." Captain Kim Ji-woo answered personally. "Kepler Station, this is Captain Kim Ji-woo of the United Earthship Retribution. We are looking for information about a missing ship from our world and ask permission to dock." The station's administrator, Trade Coordinator Beth Lin, called an emergency meeting. Representatives from 12 species gathered in the central conference room. Their various forms created a strange but familiar sight that had symbolized galactic cooperation for generations. "The vessel's power readings are beyond anything in our databases," reported Station Security Chief Vorthak, "but their communications suggest they want peace." "Their weapon systems could turn this entire station into dust," argued Military Liaison Kexthor. "We should not let them dock until we understand what we're dealing with." Before they could finish talking, long-range sensors detected the approaching hegemony fleet. Admiral Yulvana's armada dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. 300 ships arranged themselves in a sphere around Kepler Station, with the Retribution at the center. Admiral Yulvana's voice boomed across all radio frequencies. "Attention, alien vessel. You are surrounded by the combined fleets of the Galactic Hegemony. Turn off your weapons and prepare to be boarded or face the consequences." Captain Kim studied the tactical display with growing concern. 300 ships, many of them larger than anything in Earth's fleet, had them completely surrounded. Communications Officer Choi Yeji looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm receiving panicked transmissions from the space station. They're asking both sides to stand down." "What are our chances?" Captain Kim asked. Commander Lee Sumin's fingers moved across her control panel. "Their ships appear to use plasma-based weapons and energy shields, similar to ours, but less sophisticated. Their formation suggests they're not familiar with point defense networks or coordinated missile strikes. Are you saying we can fight our way out of this?" "I'm saying their tactics are predictable." Admiral Yulvana waited exactly 60 seconds. Before giving the order she hoped would save the galaxy from invasion. "All ships begin firing. Target their weapons and engines, but try to capture the vessel intact." The battle began with a magnificent display of coordinated firepower, as 300 ships opened fire at the same time. Plasma beams, particle cannons, and quantum torpedoes came at the Retribution from every direction. The human battleship's shields flared brilliantly, absorbing the incredible attack. But instead of breaking under the assault, The Retribution began to move. Captain Kim's voice cut through the chaos on her bridge. "Helm, execute pattern Omega-7, tactical, activate all point defense systems and prepare to return fire." What happened? Next changed space combat in the galaxy's memory forever. The Retribution accelerated at speeds that should have killed its crew, but its internal systems allowed maneuvers impossible for any known technology. It twisted through the enemy formation like a predator among prey, its dozens of point defense, turrets creating a wall of high-energy pulses that nothing could get through. Hegemony ships found their plasma beams stopped and destroyed before reaching their target. Their missiles were blown up seconds after launch. Meanwhile, the Retribution's main weapons, massive railguns that shot projectiles at nearly the speed of light, began systematically taking apart the surrounding fleet. Each shot was precise and calculated. The humans were not trying to destroy the alien ships, but disable them. Engines were cut off, weapon systems vaporized, and command centers carefully targeted to minimize deaths while eliminating their ability to fight. Within 20 minutes, Admiral Yulvana watched her fleet reduced to drifting hulks. The alien battleship had not taken significant damage. "All ships, cease fire," she transmitted, her voice hollow with defeat. "Request immediate withdrawal to minimum safe distance." Captain Kim accepted the surrender with grace befitting humanity's first galactic ambassador. "Admiral, we have no hostile intentions toward your people. We came here seeking information about our own kind." From Kepler Station, millions of beings watched the impossible battle's end. The humans had shown not just superior firepower, but restraint and tactical skill that suggested a military tradition going back thousands of years. Trade Coordinator Beth Lynn finally found her voice. "Captain Kim, on behalf of Kepler Station and the Outer Rim territories, we welcome you to our galaxy. The battle was over, but its effects would ripple through galactic civilization for generations. In 20 minutes, humanity had demonstrated that they were not just another species joining the galactic community. They were a force that could reshape the balance of power itself. As rescue ships moved to help the disabled hegemony vessels, Captain Kim looked out at the aftermath of the battle she had never wanted to fight. The search for the new soul would continue, but now humanity faced a much larger challenge, learning to live with beings who both feared and needed their strength. 6 months after the Battle of Kepler Station, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The UES Retribution remained docked at the now famous trading hub, its presence serving as both a diplomatic center and a reminder of humanity's power. Captain Kim Ji-woo had reluctantly accepted the role of Earth's first galactic ambassador, though she longed to return to her original mission. The missing colony ship New Seoul had finally been found, thriving on a frontier world they had named New Busan in honor of their homeland. The settlement has grown to over 80,000 people, reported cultural liaison Jung So-young recently. Arrived with the first official Earth diplomatic mission, they've made peaceful relationships with 3 neighboring species and created a remarkable mixed society. In the diplomatic quarters aboard the Retribution, representatives from dozens of galactic civilizations waited for meetings with the human delegation. The galaxy's political landscape had shifted overnight, with species choosing sides based on whether they viewed humanity as a threat to be contained or an ally to be courted. Chancellor Voxandra of the Galactic Council appeared as a hologram in the ship's conference room, her crystalline form shimmering with diplomatic protocol patterns. "Captain Kim, the Council has reached a decision regarding humanity's integration into galactic society. We propose immediate membership with full voting rights, along with a permanent seat on the Defense Committee." Admiral Yulvana, whose defeat had paradoxically elevated her status as the galaxy's foremost expert on human military capabilities, added her own perspective via hologram. "The captain's restraint during our misunderstanding demonstrated that humanity possesses not just superior technology, but a military philosophy focused on victory through minimal casualties. This is unprecedented in galactic warfare." Captain Kim nodded thoughtfully. "Admiral, we appreciate your understanding. Humanity has no desire for conquest or domination. We simply want to find our place among the stars." And that is exactly the problem, interrupted Trade Coordinator Beth Lynn, joining the meeting from Kepler Station. Your people's capabilities are so far beyond ours that finding your place reshapes everything around you. It was true. Human technology, developed in isolation, had taken paths the galaxy's interconnected civilizations had never explored. While galactic species had shared knowledge and developed along similar lines, humanity's independent evolution had produced innovations that seemed impossible to everyone else. Navigation Officer Park Min-ho entered the conference room with the latest reports from Earth. Captain, Fleet Command has authorized the construction of 12 more deep space exploration vessels. They're also fast-tracking the colonization program. The implications were not lost on anyone present. If one human battleship could reshape galactic politics, what would 12 mean? Dr. Kim Tae-hyung, humanity's first xenosociologist, had spent months studying the galaxy's various civilizations. The fundamental challenge we face is integration without assimilation. Every species here has adapted to a galactic community that emphasized cooperation and shared technological development. Humanity represents something they've never encountered: successful isolation leading to technological superiority. Chancellor Voxandra's form flickered as she processed this analysis. Dr. Kim raises the central question. How does the galaxy adapt to a species that doesn't need us, but whose presence changes everything? Captain Kim stood and walked to the massive viewport overlooking Kepler Station. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species moved in careful patterns around the human battleship, creating a scene that would have been impossible just months ago. Perhaps, she said finally, the question isn't how the galaxy adapts to us, but how we all adapt to what we can become together. The meeting continued. For hours, laying the groundwork for humanity's integration into galactic civilization. Treaties were drafted, trade agreements negotiated, and cultural exchange programs established, but the real changes were happening in smaller ways throughout the galaxy. Human medical techniques were saving lives on worlds where certain diseases had been considered incurable. Human agricultural methods were feeding populations that had struggled with food shortages. Human manufacturing processes were creating materials that had been thought impossible. In return, humanity was learning about the vast diversity of life and culture that existed among the stars. Earth's artists were creating works inspired by alien music and visual arts. Human scientists were collaborating with researchers from dozens of species on projects that none could have accomplished alone. As Captain Kim returned to her quarters that evening, she received a priority transmission from the New Sol colony. Colony Administrator Park Ji-hoon appeared on her screen, his weathered face showing the contentment of a successful pioneer. Captain, we've received approval from Earth to begin Phase 2 expansion. The Zilithians have offered to share terraforming techniques, and the Grathani want to establish a joint research facility. And the colonists? Captain Kim asked. They're calling it home. Park Ji-hoon smiled. For the first time since leaving Earth, they're calling it home. As the Retribution prepared for its next mission, escorting a joint human-alien scientific expedition to explore the galaxy's mysterious core regions, Captain Kim reflected on how much had changed since their arrival. The galaxy's greatest fear had indeed been unleashed. Not conquest or destruction, but the possibility of becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. Humanity had brought more than advanced technology to the galactic community. They had brought the perspective of a species that had dreamed alone among the stars, and now offered to dream together with everyone they met. In the depths of space, new colonies were being established, joint research projects launched, and the first generation of truly galactic citizens born. The age of human isolation was over. The age of galactic cooperation had begun.